We'll call the City Council regular meeting to order for Monday, July 21st, 2025. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Mayor Hoyt.
Here.
Councilmember Burnett. Here. Councilmember Lean.
Here.
All right, are there any changes to the agenda?
None.
Nick or Holly?
None.
Steve? All right, unless there's any changes, I would seek a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Holly, second by Steve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to item 5.1 in our announcements is our Top the Tater Days recap and introduction to the 2025 Farmington Ambassadors.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of the council, we're excited to have Jeff and Christy Kerr here to give us a recap of the 2025 Top the Tater Days, as well as Holly Shear with some representatives of the 2025 Farmington Ambassadors to give themselves an introduction. So with that, I'll turn it over.
Thank you so much for the invitation to be here tonight. I'm Christy Kerr. I'm currently serving as the chair of the Farmington Area Enhancement Group, which is a group that oversees what was Dew Days, and this year changed to Top the Tater Days. So we just celebrated our festival here in Farmington, and thank you so much for the invitation to give a recap. We had a wonderful uneventful, right? I think it was uneventful. Very fun community event. A little history behind the change of the name. Dew Days was named in 1979 for Mountain Dew came to the city and asked if they would have a festival. And as Holly brought it back to life a few years ago as the chair of the committee, as we were starting to grow this festival back, we really wanted to find a community partner, a local business to partner with. And so we, about a year ago, started having meetings with the Kemps and talking about how they could partner with us. And so we were able to sign a multi-year deal with Kemps to have them be the naming sponsor for now what is Top the Tater Days, since all the Top the Tater that they make is made here in Farmington. And that will go to the 100-year anniversary. It's locked in until the 100-year anniversary of the Kemps plant with, they can sign on to do more if we want to do that. But this year was an incredibly successful event. Not only did were we able to highlight a lot of our community organizations like the FFA, local businesses like Fisson Kennels were able to do demos. We were also able to attract a lot of new people this year because of the visibility of Kemps and Top the Tater. We had a lot of people that said, I drove from Duluth, I drove from Rochester and came to visit. So we were proud to be able to represent our town, let people see what we do here and our amazing community. One of the other things I was really proud of this year was I think our local businesses all saw a big bump in their own business. So we've been really trying to make it a partnership with our local businesses and having them involved. And so I was excited to see a lot of them opening their doors in downtown, having sidewalk sales. The Rotary talked about making triple what they have made in years past, and that's all money that goes back into the community. So it was a really fun event. We hope to continue to see it grow. Kemps was very pleased with their response, and so they've already been talking about ideas to help expand and grow next year, and we're planning the same. So thank you again for the opportunity. We, my husband Jeff and I, we pastor Homestead Church in Farmington. And we volunteer our time for this because we are firm believers in the power of shared experiences between people. And when people can come together and they can have fun and their kids can have fun, it reminds people what community is all about. It reminds people that we have a lot more in common, no matter what we disagree about. And so we really believe it was a powerful time to bring our community together. And I'm going to introduce our Farmington ambassadors for 2025. They were recently crowned during Top the Tater Days, and they're going to share a little bit as well. Come on up.
Nobody wants to be first.
I'm going to introduce them, but not introduce them.
Yep.
These are our junior ambassadors that were selected about a month ago to represent Top the Tater Days in the city of Farmington. So while the festival is completed for this year, these ladies' job is to go out to other communities within the state and promote the city of Farmington and Top the Tater Days. So I'll let them introduce themselves and let them explain what they thought was their favorite event for Top the Tater Days.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ari Flores Cortez. I will be a freshman at Farmington High School, and my favorite event was the bed races. I especially liked it because of all the costumes and seeing everyone being in their teams and just having fun, especially everyone else just cheering them on. I love seeing people get together and just cheering others on. So.
Hello, my name is Kate Moorhead. I will be a freshman at Farmington High School, and I really liked the hoedown because how it brought the community together and how much fun it was with people you don't even know.
Hi, my name is Violet Strawn. I will be a freshman at the Farmington High School, and my favorite event was probably the Kiss the Pig because I really enjoyed watching them make their own desserts and seeing the pigs' reactions.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. Nick, any?
No, I appreciate everything you guys do. Like I said, we're here being ambassadors locally, but you guys go out farther than we ever do. So we're proud of you, and you represent us well out there, you and the upper level ambassadors too. So thank you very much for your service.
Oh, I just love that you were all able to come here tonight for several reasons, primarily because of the community aspect of what it is that Dew Days and now Top the Tater Days is, and why we have it and why we celebrate it and why it was important for us to keep it going even when it was a little bit on, I don't know, some rocky soil there for a minute. So just huge thanks to Christy, Jeff, the entire organizing and planning committee. Truly, for those that don't understand what it takes, you probably have, 30 days? And then, and then it all starts again. And so this is not something that comes together in a matter of a few weeks or even a few months. It's a thing that individuals within the community volunteer for and dedicate their time to organize and execute. And so for the thousands of people that are from Farmington and for those that aren't, just an acknowledgement truly of the energy and the commitment that it takes, and a level of gratitude to both you, Christy, and to you, Holly, for what you pour into the community and to the ambassadors. Thank you. Thank you for coming here tonight, and thank you for representing our community so well in all of the different places that you go. You really are the face of Farmington outside of Farmington at all of these other festivals. And that's a huge responsibility. And we're very grateful for you wanting to do that, to sign up, to give your time for it, and for doing such a great job. So thanks for that.
Steve? Boy, I don't know how I can top Holly's comments. Yeah, I will first say to the ambassadors that you really are, representing our community throughout the years. So thank you for stepping up, and congratulations on being selected. And to Jeff and Christy, I know you are the face of Top the Tater Days throughout this year, but you two are just huge ambassadors and advocates for the Farmington community through Homestead and for everything you do. So I just want to thank both of you for that. And Christy, I took note that you're wearing a green coat. I don't think that was by accident. So thank you both.
To the ambassadors first. I don't know if you fully grasp at this point the weight of what being an ambassador is. And I hope you realize that you're setting the path for future ambassadors. So as you go out and you find yourselves in other communities, you find yourself around other ambassadors, while we appreciate the championing of the community and all the great things, I think the bigger lesson there is the ground that you're laying for future ambassadors, and what it means to be a good human being, what it means to be an advocate, to be positive, and to continue to do that work, not only across our community and all of the events, but across the state at the endless number of events that you're going to find yourselves at over the next year. More importantly, enjoy it. Enjoy it. Take time to really soak in what it is that you're doing, because speaking to past ambassadors, you're going to reflect on it years down the road. You know, you'd all said that you're going to be freshmen this year. Before you know it, you're going to be graduates, and you're going to be coming back and talking to future ambassadors and going through future coronations and ceremonies, and enjoy it, because it is very meaningful and impactful work, but it's very much personal to you, and I hope you take the time to really soak that in, because it's a big deal. To the committee, not only Jeff and Christy, but the entire Top the Tater Days committee, that event was gone. And it took a short-term lift, but it took a long-term plan. And to watch what the event has become over the last few years, and knowing what its potential can be and continue to grow into, it's fascinating to see people from not just cities, but states away come to partake in our Farmington Festival, and to see the smiles and hear from people about how amazing it is. And I especially love hearing from the first timers. Oh, we didn't even know this existed, and fill in the blank with all the amazing expletives, right? People enjoy it, and that it's a heavy lift. And I'm gonna say this like very loud publicly. It's very easy for someone to criticize what a thing is or is not. It's another to actually stand up, step in line, and do the work to put on events like that. And I hope both of you, along with the other members of the committee, took the time to soak in the fruits of your labor, because I was there for a part of it, and it was amazing. The pictures and the comments that you hear from people are it's phenomenal as to what it's become, and especially excited to see what it will continue to grow into. So on behalf of a very grateful community, thank you for everything that you guys do. Very much so. Thank you. And we have an action-packed agenda, so don't any of you all run out of here. A little lesson on local government. Moving on, next item on our agenda is citizen comments. If there's anyone in attendance wishing to speak, you can do so at this time. All right, having none, we'll move on to item 7, which is our consent agenda. I'd seek a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Nick, second by Steve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, our next item on the agenda is a public hearing for the Resolution 2025 TAG 051, approving the adoption of the city's 5-year street reconstruction plan and authorizing the issuance of street reconstruction bonds. I'd like to go ahead and open the public hearing at this time.
Evening, Mayor and council members. I'll just briefly review the projects which are included in the 5-year street reconstruction plan. We have more than this in the upcoming CIP, but this is the next 5 years. This is the basis for the bonding that will be discussed and that we're requesting action on. You've seen most of these before. The new one that you probably haven't seen much is 2029, but one of these is under construction already. A little background, we're recommending bonds be issued to partially fund street reconstruction projects over the next 5 years. That issuance of bonds requires a public hearing. After the public hearing, we'll request approval of the resolution in your packet. In 2023, we completed the citywide pavement rating. In 2024 and subsequent years, we'll re-rate a third of the pavement, bituminous pavement, in the city to keep the data fresh. One thing we're working on this year is we're moving the data from Icon software to OpenGov software. Probably doesn't mean much to you, but it's kind of exciting for me. OpenGov software is what we use for our fleet management that Damon's been doing such a fantastic job with. Part of that software also has asset management for pavement, so we're going to take advantage of that and try and consolidate some of our data tracking. So based heavily on the PCI, but also considering other factors, we put together this 5-year plan. It's reviewed and adjusted each year. Projects that are on the municipal state aid system, we don't have to bond for those, so they're not included in this presentation, but we do have projects Cities over a population of 5,000 in the state of Minnesota are part of the municipal state aid system. So Farmington receives about $1.2 million a year. 25% of that we allocate toward maintenance, the rest we use for construction. Recently you authorized the Willow Street reconstruction project. That's a state aid project that'll be funded through state aid funds. So the 2025 street improvements, which are underway, include the following areas shown on the map and listed: Sunnyside Drive from Ash to Centennial, Fairview from Sunnyside to Park, Centennial, Fairview to Sunnyside, Centennial Court and Sunnyside Circle. A couple of those, you may remember discussions we had about narrowing the roadway. That's included in the project, some reconfiguration of the cul-de-sacs. A contract award was awarded to McNamara Contracting, and this construction project is underway. 2026 street improvements is much more straightforward. It's 2nd Street from Ash to Spruce. So it's one big long street. When doing the reconstruction projects, some people wonder, well, you're in the area, why don't you do these other cul-de-sacs too? We focus on the condition, but we also focus on how many users we have of that roadway. Unfortunately, cul-de-sacs aren't as heavily used as something like 2nd Street, so that's what gets the attention. In 2027, very similarly, we have 7th Street from Ash to south of Walnut and Beach Street, shown graphically here. You may notice that the west end of the Beach Street ties into the 6th Street project that was completed last year near Farmington Elementary. In 2028, this is broken up a little more. Pine Street, 5th to 8th, 6th from Main to Pine, Linden from 5th to 7th, 7th from Willow to Linden, and we also have 2 studies in 2028. The 9th Street Backage Road and the Carver Lane Backage Road. These are the areas proposed for reconstruction in 2028. Shown graphically, Willow Street, as you can see, fits right in there. That will be completed this year. We don't like to have parallel roads under construction at the same time. It hampers travel, especially when we're under construction. And then the 2 studies will simply look at backage road possibilities in these 2 areas. So some of the bond proceeds have been allocated to study this. In some cases, we've got right-of-way or have allocated right-of-way space to look at backage roads, and that's to provide alternatives to additional connections to Highway 3. Both of these studies have been in the CIP for many years, and it's just coming to the point where we need to get them done and come to some conclusion as to what our intentions are. In 2029, again, partial streets: Fairview Lane from Park to Heritage, Centennial Drive, Sunnyside to 3, Carver Lane, Trunk Highway 3 to 224th, and Oak Street 9th to 12th. So in 2029, we have kind of a scattered project, but this is filling in some of the gaps and doing some of the streets that we couldn't undertake when we were in the neighborhood. So that's the 2029 street improvements. Requested action is to hold the public hearing and then consider adoption of the resolution. With that, I'd be happy to respond to any questions.
Thank you, sir. Steve, any questions? I don't. Holly?
No questions.
Nick? Nothing from me. I don't have any questions. I would just make a comment that I especially appreciate your passion in getting behind the PCI, the Pavement Condition Index, and utilizing the data-driven decision-making model that helps us use this as it's a 5-year plan that we can hold ourselves to. So even just a few minutes ago, for those that are watching or will watch this, when you reference 2nd Street, right? Even if the traffic patterns aren't there, the PCI index and doing that in 3-year intervals allows us to monitor the degradation of the quality of the pavement. So if the data supports a chip coating or a seal coating or a mill and overlay or a full replacement, we'll let the data drive that decision. And it might seem convenient to go, but there's just right there, why don't you just do it? Because if you did that everywhere, where would you end up? You'd have expending a lot of money replacing things that don't need it. And so being very aware and having the discipline to follow the PCI, I think, is going to be imperative in years to come. So I don't think I can say that loud enough, how much I appreciate us going down this avenue. So thank you.
Certainly. And this is one example. 2nd Street, you may recall that we had Honeysuckle Lane on this originally, but based on pricing and looking at, how our costs increased, we just couldn't take on Honeysuckle Lane. I think we'd be over. We were doing Honeysuckle Lane because it was close by. It does serve a number of properties, but we'll come back and take care of it. I would mention that we're unrelated to bonding. We're also out for bids on our 2025 mill and overlay project. So those streets that don't qualify for reconstruction based on their pavement condition, that's a mill and overlay, and we'll get some more of those done this year.
Thank you very much. Because this is a public hearing, if anyone in attendance would like to come up and either pose a question or make comment, feel free to do so at this time. All right, seeing none, I will go ahead and close the public hearing at this time. Any other comments, questions, deliberation to be had? All right, seeing none then, I will seek a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-051, approving the adoption of the city's 5-year street reconstruction plan and authorizing the issuance of general obligation street reconstruction bonds and establishing compliance and reimbursement bond regulations under the Internal Revenue Code.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Holly, second by Steve. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Burnett,
Yes.
Councilmember Lean,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Hoyt.
Yes. All right, next item on the agenda is 9-1, which is receive bids and award a contract for the Police Department Security Fence Project. We have Sergeant Sauter with us this evening. Welcome, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Put my cheaters on here. The Farmington Police Department seeks to improve the security of its critical infrastructure, including the city's fiber hub and the police evidence room, by constructing a perimeter fence around the police department. Plans and specs were developed in consultation with Wold Architects and Engineers. Advertisements for bids were posted, and the project was publicly bid in accordance with applicable municipal procurement laws and federal grant conditions. So we received 4 bids on Thursday. We did have 1 bid come in under budget, or right at budget. This is being paid for by a federal Department of Justice grant. And with that, do you have any questions? I also have Jacob Wolensack here with Wold Architects to answer any questions too on the project.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Holly, any questions?
No, actually, it's fairly straightforward to me. I'm glad that we are in a position finally where we can protect some of the city's more expensive assets and have something like this moving forward. So I'm just excited to see it take shape.
Nick?
Yeah, I think we've talked about this quite a bit enough. I'm happy to see it kind of finally moving along here. I don't have any real questions other than that, though.
All right. Steve?
Yeah, I would echo what Holly and Nick said. I would also add that I appreciate your department bringing this to us, and I think it's an important addition for the police department infrastructure.
Yeah. I'm going to run alongside them in the comments. It is really exciting to finally see the level of dollars come back into our community. You know, you can argue about the source funding all day long, but at the end of the day, it's dollars that are coming back here instead of going somewhere else. And even going back a few years when former Deputy Chief Jimmy was talking about the expansion and getting into that, the security fence had come up and the opportunity. I mean, here, this is something that is being not subsidized, but funded outside of the community. This is a significant capital infrastructure project that is not coming on the taxpayers' backs, either residential or business. My only question would be it was Jacob, right?
Jake, yep.
Jake. With the police expansion coming, is there any site readiness work that's been identified that we won't run into a scenario 2 years from now where, oh, we have to fix this or we need to redo this because of the expansion? Is it been planned and prepared around the inevitable?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, obviously the future planning and giving flexibility was a huge part of the design and the thought process. I'd say that the alternate that was included was maybe the only thing that would have been in flux for that future project, and we are not recommending that that alternate be awarded. That's essentially to connect the perimeter fence to the building and separate the public from the staff squad parking. And I think with discussions with the police department, really felt that that future project is likely going to impact that investment. And as you can see in the council packet, that alternate is not cheap. So I think in the future expansion project, there'd likely be the opportunity to seal off between the public and the squad areas. But outside of that, it's all along the perimeter, and there's really no impact to any future project other than maybe a few kind of electrical or other underground conduit things that might have to shift around. So the answer
Awesome.
is
And
no.
I appreciate that. And the timeline you're comfortable with? It looks like, to me, it seems fairly
it's
egregious,
quick.
but.
So the funding does have a date, I think September 31st, and we've worked with Roshan, and I did contact them and get their input, and they're aware of the date, and I'm glad that we're able to have this meeting, 4 days or 5 days after the bid opening, so we can hopefully get them under contract and get the ball rolling here. So
Awesome. I appreciate it very much.
yep,
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, with that, we will seek a motion to, actually, let me correct this. Amy, can I read off all three of them separately? It's just one motion, all right?
I would do them separately.
Do them separately?
Yes.
Okay. So I'd seek a motion to receive bids for the police department security fence project.
Motion.
Motion by Steve, second by Holly. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor White,
Yes.
Councilmember Bernatz,
Yes.
Councilmember Lean.
Yes.
All right, I'd seek a motion to award the contract to Roshan Corporation in the amount of $658,000.
Motion.
Motion by Holly,
Second.
second by Nick. Call the roll, please.
Mayor White,
Yes.
Councilmember Bernatz,
Yes.
Councilmember Lean,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson.
Yes.
All right, and finally, I'd seek a motion to authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the construction contract.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Nick, second by Steve. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lean,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor White,
Yes.
Councilmember Bernatz.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, sirs. All right, next item under new business is 12.1, which is ordinance 2025 tag 004, establishing cannabis and hemp business regulations and amending the 2025 fee schedule for retail registration.
I'll be taking that this evening,
David.
Mr. Mayor. So as we know, in 2023, the Minnesota State Legislature legalized recreational marijuana and created the Office of Cannabis Management to govern the registration and operations of cannabis businesses. As part of that act, and with the creation of the Office of Cannabis Management, the registration process is a two-part process for cannabis businesses. They have to first apply to the state, to the Office of Cannabis Management, and then once they give an approval, it then goes down to the local municipality level for a local approval. So as part of that, as we discussed during the work session on July 7th, the city has to enact a local ordinance to govern our half of the registration process, which is what ordinance 2025 TAC 004 does. Couple highlights of this ordinance from a registration process, what it restricts. It requires that any retail business within the city of Farmington has to be obviously first approved by the Office of Cannabis Management, has to meet all state building code requirements. It has to meet all the requirements within this proposed ordinance which would fall under City Code Title III. And then it also needs to meet all the requirements within Title 10, which is the zoning code as well. That is something that was passed in the zoning piece was passed in 2024. Registered businesses will have to operate so that no odors, whether the smell of cannabis or other odors related to the operation of that business, can be detected by a person with a normal sense of smell at the exterior of the business property line. Registered businesses cannot occupy a residential dwelling unit. And based upon a submission of complete application, payment of fees, registrations will be processed on a first-come, first-served basis. As part of the legislation, the legislature did put into effect caps on the amount of, or the option to have caps on the amount of licenses a municipality may have. And it is based upon a number of residents. So it's a requirement of one license per 12,500 residents. So 0 to 12,500 is 1, 12,501 to 25,000 is 2, and so on. In discussions, as we discussed on July 7th, what the number that we would be using would be the annual census, or not really census, but the annual estimate from the state demographer's office. So right now we're right about that, just shy of that 25,000 number, which would have us at 2 licenses. Once we break 2501, we'd go up to 3. Again, that would just be based off of a first come, first served basis. And then they do have to be renewed annually. The ordinance does have hours and days of sale. So retail sale of cannabis, cannabis flower, cannabis products, lower potency hemp edibles or hemp derived consumer products is limited to 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Sunday. And then the sale of lower potency hemp edibles, which are beverages, are permitted at a location that is currently holding an on or off sale intoxicating liquor licenses during their business hours as outlined within the intoxicating liquor ordinance, and shall be served in a similar manner to intoxicating beverages. When it comes to the use of cannabis, the ordinance states that no person shall use cannabis flower, cannabis products, lower potency hemp edibles, or hemp derived consumer products in a public space or in a place of public accommodation unless the premises is an establishment that is licensed or an event licensed to permit on sale consumption of cannabis products. And the definitions for all these things are also in the ordinance. We did want to point out that this ordinance specifically governs cannabis products, and it does not govern tobacco, which is something we also discussed at the workshop, and I think something that the park board is going to be working on. As part of the review of this ordinance, it was on the recommendation of Police Chief Seam that Title III, Chapter 20 of the City Code, which is drug-related devices, is no longer applicable and should be deleted from the code, which is part of this ordinance. And also this ordinance amends the fee schedule for the city to incorporate the fees related to the licensing process. Again, this ordinance has been reviewed by staff, including the city attorney. And so tonight we are looking for a motion to pass ordinance 2025 TAC 004, which amends Title III business regulations by adding Chapter 27, Cannabis and Hemp Retail Registration, deletes Chapter 20, Drug-Related Devices, and amends Title 8, Chapter 12, Fees and Charges Schedule. And with that, I'll take any questions that the council has.
Thank you. Nick?
I guess just one for, my own and public understanding. How many active permit requests do we have, or have we seen? Or inquiries in general, I guess?
To my knowledge, none.
Even already. Okay. I don't have any other questions beside that. Like I said, I appreciate that we kind of my first answer was because I feel like we have gotten ahead of this a little bit, so that we're not kind of playing catch up as we go. So I appreciate all the hard work on this and a lot of good discussion on the topic too.
Holly?
I have nothing more to add.
Steve?
David, just for, again, kind of public clarification like Nick was talking about. So we talk about the noticeable odor outside the business. Now, that would be the business generating odor.
Correct.
But that doesn't mean that a resident or consumer of the product couldn't be walking by the store and there being odor. Is there a distinction between that, or kind of clarify that?
From what I understand, it is about, like, if you are a cannabis business and I am standing at your property line, I shouldn't have a strong odor of be able to smell a strong
Coming
odor
from
of cannabis from that
business?
From that
Okay.
business.
Thank you.
Because the smell of the use would fall under the use in public spaces then.
Correct.
To try to,
Yeah.
that's like a state directive, right? Like general provision as to what they want us to follow.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And I should just add that the ordinance that is before you tonight and we discussed on July 7th, that's actually using the model ordinance that was created by the Office of Cannabis Management, which has been pretty much what most municipalities across the state have been using.
I don't have any questions. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you to my peers. We've gone through multiple work sessions and talked about this in various phases, and to, the Planning Commission for working on it, and, the Park and Rec Advisory Board to their input. This is very much the state said, it's legal, here we go. Let's start running without a whole lot of guidelines and a whole lot of guardrails. And it has been 2.5 years, almost 3 years in the making now to get to a point. So all that to say that this is not perfect. It is good based on what the information we have in front of us now. Real life application may cause us to go back and change some things. There are some lines that we can't cross. The state requires that we shall issue 1 per 12.5. We can't reduce that, but there are definitely parameters that could be looked at and evaluated, as with most or any ordinances in the future. So this is very much we're going to take it in baby steps and work our way through it as it moves forward. So thank you to everybody who's been involved over the last few years with this. With that, I would seek a motion to pass ordinance 2025 tag 004, amending Title 3 Business Regulations by adding Chapter 27, Cannabis and Hemp Retail Registration, deleting Chapter 20, Drug-Related Devices, and amending Title 8, Chapter 12, Fees and Charges Schedule.
Motion.
Motion by Holly.
Second.
Second by Nick. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Hoyt,
Yes.
Councilmember Bernatz,
Yes.
Councilmember Lean.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next item, 12.2, is repeal of Title 4, Chapter 1, Section 4, Tac 1, Tac 2 of the Farmington City Code. Josh?
See if I can find this. All right, Mayor Hoyt, council members. Tonight I'm here to talk about the repealing of Chapter 1306, which is an optional fire sprinkler provision that we adopted in 2003 and again in 2008. Chapter 1306 is an optional chapter that communities can adopt in addition to the Minnesota State Building Code. The optional chapters aim to enhance safety and provide safeguards for property preservation in our community. A little timeline about the adoption of 1306 as it applies to Farmington. Prior to 1999, the Farmington City Code included Chapter 1306, but ultimately City Council chose to repeal the chapter, citing opposition to the requirement to sprinkle existing buildings and also the costs associated with the installation. In 2003, the state made revisions to Chapter 1306, which made it more narrowly applied for local communities. In response, we readopted it. We adopted Subpart 3, which did not require existing buildings to comply with fire sprinkler provisions. Based on input and direction received from the council, staff is requesting approval of Ordinance 2025 tag 005, the repeal of Chapter 1306 in its entirety. Currently, as adopted, new buildings, additions to existing buildings, or buildings which the occupancy classification has changed,
must install automatic sprinkler systems. Staff recommendation is the repeal of Chapter 1306. This gives our design professionals, architects, the flexibility to apply existing building codes when designing new buildings, additions or remodels, and buildings where the occupancy classification has changed. The requirements for fire sprinklers do not go away, which is a key takeaway tonight. Rather, the threshold for when they are required simply follows the model code that's accepted and enforced throughout the nation. Along with the Minnesota Building Code, the City of Farmington has several other processes and operational changes that we've made that are in place today that provide for enhanced safety and property preservation. Just a few of those are substantial steps taken by the fire department towards a full-time fire department and staffing. Comprehensive plan reviews by myself, building inspection staff, our fire chief, and our fire marshal. Recently, we've also conducted certificate of occupancy permits. This is going to be a permit that's issued to all tenant changes, regardless if a building permit is required. And then a continuation of our annual fire inspections. This is my most important slide. I think this is kind of a, you can wave our hand and say, hey, we did something really good here. This is our ability to listen to our community. Approving ordinance 2025 tag 005 shows our ability to listen, pivot, and respond to the concerns expressed by local and prospective business owners in our community. The repeal of 1306 allows for a more collaborative and flexible approach to fire safety and code administration, providing for economic growth in our community and trust in our modern advances in fire detection, alarm systems, and emergency response. The action promotes investment in our community and local businesses while maintaining safeguards to the public health and safety. So the ask tonight, the action requested is the City Council to approve ordinance 2025 tag 005. This will repeal Chapter 1306 from the Farmington City Code. And with that, I will answer any questions you guys might have.
Thank you, sir.
Steve?
Good presentation, thank you. And can you confirm if this will be a forward starting or if there are businesses that are maybe currently going through the process, if we'd be able to relax to this standard for businesses that are currently going through the review process?
There are no businesses currently going through the review process. It will be forward starting. That being said, I have had 2 such businesses that have already come to the table and said, we have gone back to our architects, we have revisited our budget, we've looked at providing additional features to our design that we maybe wouldn't have been able to before. And now they're revisiting that and will be reapplying.
Okay, thank you.
Holly?
No questions, actually, just more of a comment. To me, this is a prime example of a lot of work being done in work session. I know that for individuals, oftentimes they'll, maybe catch bits or pieces, or maybe even an entire council meeting, either in person or often online. And it's been brought up before that it feels like, decisions just get made. And while that happens, yes, in a council meeting, there were a lot of things worked out. There was a lot of robust conversation. There were questions that were asked, and all of those things happened in work session. And so I just appreciate that aspect of what we're doing. And it's more of an acknowledgement of when things like this come before us, I think it can sometimes seem like, oh, well, we're just doing it on the fly. And that's entirely not the case. We looked at this and, I don't know, spent, I would say, a far more than reasonable amount of time going through the benefits, the drawbacks, whether or not we were being reactive or proactive, and came to the conclusion that this was the best next step forward. So I'm just grateful for that, and to everybody up here and everybody on staff that brings these opportunities forward for us to revisit and reconsider And sometimes they make sense and sometimes they don't, but in this case it did.
I guess I will say thank you for that last, hand wavy slide part there. I will say I've gotten firsthand commentary that the process has been rigid in the past from some of these things. So it's great to see the flexibility added and I guess the choice. And then thank you also for clarifying that you aren't removing the requirement to sprinkler, and it's not like you're discouraging. Some people are still obviously heavily encouraged for the protection of their own property and for their insurance premiums and all the other reasons, right? So it may look daunting on paper, but when you consider all the other factors that are still in play, the risk kind of goes away. And then, the one thing that we did talk in work session is that both you and Chief Price were totally comfortable with it. And so if the two most important people to that decision are sitting there telling me this is a good thing, I'm inclined to believe you guys more than myself on that. So thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, there's, first, thank you to not only you and your team, Deanna, Chief Price, for listening and being open for the conversation, right? I mean, historically, we know that there's been impediments to development for any number of reasons. And to take an issue where years ago the city had a stance that we were going to get to as tight around this code as we could, if there's other things that can be put in place to help mitigate said risk, certificate of occupancy, annual inspections, having a fire marshal, right, all of those things, there's another layer there. And I really appreciate having that last slide up there, because we do. Contrary to popular belief on some things, we do listen. We do a lot of work in work session. We try to vet through what the possibilities are. And to Nick's point, when our building official and our fire chief both say, we're comfortable with this, like, I'm always going to be comfortable with that, because you are the subject matter experts in your field. And by your own admission of statement there that you've already received, 2 inquiries, tells us that we may have had an impediment there where we didn't realize it existed. So thank you to everyone for going through this, and first and foremost, safety, right? But if there are ways that we can achieve that through alternative means, then let's not continue to put additional financial burdens on our businesses where they don't need to exist. So thank you. With that, I would seek a motion to approve and pass ordinance 2025-005, repealing the adoption of optional provisions of the Minnesota Building Code, namely Chapter 1306, Special Fire Protection Systems, New Buildings, Minnesota Rule 1306.0020, Subpart 3.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Holly, second by Nick. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Hoyt,
Yes.
Councilmember Bernatz,
Yes.
Councilmember Lean,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Roundtable. Amy, you get to start.
I get to start again. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I only have one thing I wanted to comment on. There was an article in the Sun newspaper this week that included it was a summary, essentially, of the comments that I made at the public comment section of your agenda 2 weeks ago. Unrelated to the comments that I made here in the meeting, there's one statement in the article that I think really does need to be pulled out and corrected for the record. Again, not related to any of the comments that I made last time. It says the court approved an injunction to stop any future action regarding to the data center until the lawsuits are resolved. I just want to make clear for the record that that statement is 100% inaccurate. There are no injunctions that have been issued in either of the lawsuits that the city is currently defending. I went back today when I became aware of this article, thanks to your community development director, that there are no, the judge in neither of the cases has issued an order that prohibits any action related to the data center. I believe, I don't know where the confusion came in, but I believe that it could be from when the Coalition for Responsible Data Center Development filed their initial summons and complaint last November, as is standard practice, they included a proposed order for an injunction. It very clearly said in the heading that it was proposed. The word proposed is in brackets. It was a proposed order, and the judge never approved that, never issued that order. And in the other lawsuit that was brought by the Castle Rock Township, they too filed a motion for injunctive relief, and in June of this year, the court actually denied that motion by the township. So just for the record, to make clear, regardless of what the news article says, there are no injunctions that prevent the city from taking, or the parties, that, you know, the owner or the owners of the parcels or the developer. There's nothing that prohibits any action from going forward at this point. I just want to make that clear for the record.
Thank you,
Other
ma'am.
than that, I have no report.
Nick?
I get to steal one from the consent agenda tonight. So there's a handful of staff approvals and recommendations. I just wanted to say congratulations to our new mechanic, our new firefighters, our new liquor store clerks, our new police officer, and our new, well, transferred parks maintenance worker. So congratulations, everybody, and welcome.
Holly?
I have nothing tonight.
All right. Steve?
I second what Holly said. I have nothing further to add.
Did I steal everybody's?
You kind of did.
Shirley?
I actually have something. Coming up in just a couple of weeks, myself and other clerks in Dakota County, along with Dakota County election staff, will have the opportunity to attend several demonstrations for election tabulators to be purchased for 2026 elections. So the county will take feedback from clerks for that decision. So more information to come.
Thank you. David?
Councilmember Lean, you did steal mine,
Thank you.
so I have nothing,
That
Mr.
has
Mayor.
You can also say congratulations. I don't have a monopoly on saying congrats.
Deanna?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight we had our Economic Development Authority meeting, and what we have been doing over the last few months is inviting our partners in to really share their mission and talk about how we align. And tonight we had John Altoff attend and give a really thorough presentation about what the Dakota County Regional Chamber, the DCR, our DCR does throughout the region, but also what they do for us. And this is a very wonderful partnership we have, and we're thankful for John's participation. We're thankful for his support in Farmington, and for our businesses. So that was a great conversation. That's all I would like to just announce. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. The city of Farmington and Dakota County are in partnership completing a corridor study of County Road 31 and County Road 74. So Ash Street from Denmark over to Honeysuckle, and Denmark from Ash Street up to County Road 50. There is an open house tomorrow evening between 4:30 and 6:30 p.m. in the atrium here at Farmington City Hall, where Dakota County staff, myself, and others will be available to answer questions on study process so far, what options are being considered, what's been completed. So I'd encourage anyone interested to attend.
Thank you. Kelly?
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Hard to believe, but Wednesday is already our 3rd out of 4 Music in the Park concert series. So this Wednesday, 7 p.m. at Rambling River Park, it's Fred the Bear, country music, Americano music, and alternative rock. Hope to see you there. If it does storm or weather's a question, it'll be inside at the Rambling River Center at 7 p.m. Rambling River Center grand reopening and ribbon cutting celebration will be Wednesday, August 13th at 10 a.m. We hope to see everybody there. Public is invited to attend. We'll be giving tours and having cake and coffee. So please stop out and attend the ribbon cutting ceremony and see the new renovated space.
Thank you. Kim?
I have nothing to report tonight.
Chief?
I'll touch base off of what Councilmember Lean was saying. This evening you approved on the consent agenda the remainder of our paid on call. So next Monday will be the first time that all 11 will be in the same room going through the onboarding process. This is the second largest class that we've had. 2017 we had 12. This time we'll have 11, which is a really good thing to have. We did lose one out of the 12. individual is going to be leaving town, moving out of the city, so therefore, instead of having 12, we would have tied the highest, now we're down to 11, so. Like I said, next Monday will be the first time they'll all be in the same room together.
Thank you, sir. Bob, anything to add?
I do.
All right. Beautiful.
One thing I forgot to add, Chief Seam put a lot of work into procuring this grant, and it's a sizable grant, and I just wanted to give him credit for the work he's done on that.
Thank you, sir. I don't have anything to add. I mean, the summers are usually full of a lot of events. Before we know it, the county fair is going to be knocking on our door. Weather's kind of all over the place. The corn's growing. It feels like a good old-fashioned Midwestern summer. So that's always good. John, thank you very much for attending our EDA meeting. Again, thank you for you and your team's continued advocacy, not only across the county, but also here in Farmington. And I just love every time you show up and your team shows up, and you definitely are out there working on behalf of our businesses and our nonprofits and our organizations. And don't ever question as to whether or not your team's work is impactful, because it is. And we sincerely appreciate it. Thank you. With that, I'd seek a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Holly, second by Nick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned at 7:56.